and the fees that are involved with that are from £3,000 upwards, okay?
Oof, okay, all right. This is very different to what I thought I was coming in for. Welcome to the Sales Spotlight Show, where we take real life business owners and place them under the spotlight to quite literally transform their sales. My name is Pete Scott, and I'm going to be taking you through a consultation today with one of my long-term clients, Emily. I am so excited to go through this with you for two reasons. Number one, because Emily does a fantastic job. And number two, because this consultation is full of actionable and tangible feedback that I share with Emily during the session. You're going to see Emily go through the consultation, then get some feedback, and then go through the consultation a second time with those improvements. So without any delay, let's get into it.
Thank you very much. So hi Pete, welcome. It's nice to have you here. So can I just start by asking what's brought you here today? Why have you come to see me?
I've never had a facial before or any kind of skincare, so I thought I'd come see what it's all about, really.
Okay, no problem. So let me just dive a little bit deeper on that. Have you got any concerns with your skin? Anything you don't like, anything you'd like to change?
I'd like to look 10 years younger and more handsome.
Okay, perfect. So what would that look like to you?
Let's pause straight away. Emily's asked a great question, but she could have framed it in a better way. What does that look like to you? What a brilliant question to open up the consultation and say, hey, what does great skin look like for you? The only issue is I've stated that I'm brand new to skincare and I'm not sure really what I'm here for. So Emily could have framed the question better by giving the answer before asking the question. So she can say something along the lines of, it's okay, you're in safe hands. I get plenty of guys just like you that come along. It's their first treatment too. And what they're normally worried about in their mid-40s might be a little bit of aging, and that normally shows up under the eyes, or it might be some pigmentation, or it can be something completely different. So what might it be for you? You see, what we've done here is painted the picture in the mind of the client, because we want to ask great questions, but also we don't want our clients to get stuck on those questions. So let's see how Emily gets on with the rest of the consultation. What did it look like?
If we had to be specific, yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not really sure when it comes to my skin, to be fair. Being a guy, I just know that I could look. I look in the mirror and I just see that I'm getting a bit, in my mid-40s.
Okay, so is that more like fine lines and wrinkles? Is it more pigmentation patches? What is it you're noticing?
Probably pigmentation, I would say. I live in a hot country, so that doesn't help. And certainly when the sun comes out, I notice that.
Yeah, okay, no problem. And on sort of a scale of 1 to 10, how much does it bother you?
5, I guess. 6.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're aware of it, but it's not a huge issue for you right now?
I'd say so. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah, I'm just very much just wanting to come to you and see where, what education I can get and, how a facial can help me. I'm personally not a big fan of the whole scale 1 to 10 because you get a generic answer. And as you can tell by my response, I'm like 5, 6. And the issue now is that Emily's having to face that this isn't really a concern for me. Again, you can frame this in a better way and say, I get 2 types of people that walk through the door. Those, it doesn't worry them at all. And then I get the second type of client who says, you know what, it's about time that I do something about this. So for you, talking about your pigmentation that you've already mentioned, how would you say it's affecting you? And you still might not get the answer that you want, but we want to put as much into context as possible. In other words, create a movie or an image in the mind of a client. For me personally, a scale of 1 to 10 doesn't really do that. But this is just a personal preference I have. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. Let's continue.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to explain a little bit about how I work because I work totally different to other skin specialists. Is that okay?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, okay. So having a one-off facial, there's nothing wrong with that, but you're not going to see long-lasting changes with your skin.
Oh, okay.
So typically, clients come to me because we work together over a period of time to really hone in and fix those concerns to make those long-lasting results. So naturally, that's not going to come from one facial, it's not going to come from one product, okay?
Okay, all right, gotcha. Sounds scary.
Yeah, so it's not scary. There is quite a lot involved with it.
Sure.
But
I love this little sequence here because clearly I'm overwhelmed already as a client, talking about that one treatment's not going to be enough. I need to do multiple treatments and work with her over a period of time. And I even state, this sounds scary. And Emily says, oh, it's not scary. And then continues to talk about how scary the whole thing is. At this point, you always must remember, sell with empathy. And if a client's stating that it's scary, rather than trying to just push that to the side, you want to tackle that and say, okay, let's back up for a moment. We'll go step by step. I know that this is your first treatment, so we're going to get into the treatment shortly, and you're going to have an amazing treatment today. Let's go back to your pigmentation and ask, how long do you think you've had this pigmentation? The reason why I ask this question is because if you tell me 5 minutes, we can fix it in 5 minutes. And at that point, I would then say, no, this has been going on for at least 10 years. Aha, I'm starting to understand they may need more treatments and more support to deal with this.
But I'm there every step of the way to help my clients along that journey, so they don't feel overwhelmed, they don't feel on their own, because I am there to support them.
Okay. You see what Emily's had to do here is she's had to justify that I'm there step by step and you're not going to be overwhelmed. And the reason why she's saying that is because she's going to be feeling already that I'm overwhelmed.
Okay.
Nice.
So journeys very much depend client to client, depending on what their concerns are and where they want to be. Sometimes it can take 3 months, sometimes it can take up to a year. And the fees that are involved with that are from £3,000 upwards, okay?
Oof, okay, all right. This is very different to what I thought I was coming in for, but it's okay, thank you.
Absolutely, and that's absolutely fine. I'm just giving you the information at the moment, so you don't have to make a decision right now. It might be for you, it might not be for you, and it's totally fine either way. Okay. I'll be able to give you some advice and recommendations for now.
Cool. We will stop there. Well done. So I'm about to give Emily some feedback now, and as you can tell, there is plenty of feedback that I'm going to be sharing. What you would have noticed in that final part of her consultation, she was avoiding the overwhelm that I was feeling. I stated that it was scary, this isn't really what I booked in for, and her response to that was, oh, that's okay, I'm just sharing the information that you're going to have to spend £3,000 to £9,000. Let's go through the feedback now that I've got for Emily and why it's so essential. Well done. Okay. How are you feeling? How do you feel that went? There's a lot that happened there. It was actually really interesting to be the client, because I know that we've worked together for a long time, but to be on the client side and feel what it's like to go through that situation. What would you say?
Yeah, it's, I've done it completely off the cuff. There was no, obviously, script, and I do normally have like a printout to kind of go through it. So I
didn't actually pick up on this when I was giving the feedback to Emily, but she said, normally I've got a script and a printout. It is fundamental. The number one rule of a consultation is you sell with empathy, and it cannot be done with a script. You cannot sit looking at the words on a piece of paper. You must trust your expertise. In fact, you have to be so present with the client that you forget yourself. So it's not about, I'm memorizing a script, I'm going to read this off a piece of paper. It is purely being in that moment with the client, wanting to help them with every cell in your body, and then knowing it's their decision if they say yes or no, and not being attached to that outcome. Just wanted to pick that up because I didn't feed that back to Emily at the time.
So I completely done it off the cuff. So it could have gone better. There's always room for improvement, but I don't feel like it was horrendous.
What do you feel could have gone better?
The flow of the conversation,
Talk to me about the flow.
So I think it's really hard because you were a client who hasn't done anything. Normally people come to me and they've done something, they've tried facials, they've tried this, you're a complete newbie. Okay. So I felt like if you're a complete newbie to go into a skin transformation, it's too much of a big jump.
Okay. So what happened is that you presented an objection in your own mind, and I deliberately gave you that journey, which was fun because I know that most of your clients, they come to you and, as you say, they've tried things before. But by having a client, it was a bit naughty of me to go down that route and say, okay, well, let's see what happens if I say that I'm a 5 out of 10 in terms of how concerned am I about it. Okay, what I felt, number one, you're super confident. Yeah, love the confidence that it brings to the consultation. Number two is bearing in mind that I was a client that was a bit clueless, coming in, probably keen. Well, I was keen, but not educated in my skin at all. It was just slowing down and always selling with empathy, always bringing me in and involving me in that process. Does that make sense? It felt a little bit that, and I know that this is a good way, I know you want to be direct and upfront, but at the same time, with me as a particular client, instead of saying, right, okay, I work totally differently. I've never worked with a therapist, so I don't even know what totally different is, right?
No.
Yeah. And then jumping to, well, my fees are £3,000 to £50,000 or £8,000, whatever. It was very overwhelming for me as the potential client. Now, you're in a great position because you could have invited the fact that I'm newer to this and say, wow, in that case, I'm honoured that you've chosen me potentially as your first skincare specialist So what I'm going to do is take you really slowly through this step by step so everything makes sense for you. Will that be okay? Just slowing the whole process down. And I felt a little bit like it was being rushed to get to the next stage, where the missing thing is that empathy. Remember, you always want to sell with demonstrated empathy. So that means that you are, from the beginning, when you established, which was fairly early on, that I'm brand new, you can frame it in a different way and say, totally get that, Pete. I appreciate you being here and being brave to come through to your first ever treatment. So I'll make sure that you have a great first treatment today. I've got a question for you though. Are you looking to just have a facial and see how it goes? Or are you looking to particularly transform your skin in a certain way? Maybe you want to reduce pigmentation, or you've got fine lines and wrinkles. The reason why I'm telling you this is because I had a client just like you a couple of weeks ago. I won't say his name, you don't say his actual name, but had a client just like you, also new to having treatments. And when he first came in, he thought he just wanted a facial, but as we got talking, we revealed that there's a lot more going on. And now I'm working with him on a skin journey. Now, skin journey is where we work together a little bit more long term. It's not for everybody because obviously it's a different investment to what you would have planned for today. However, when clients do decide to go for a skin journey, we are looking at somewhere between X amount and Y amount. Don't worry about that right now because it might not even be the right thing for you. But how are you feeling so far as we're having this conversation? Can you hear the empathy? How are you feeling so far as around this conversation? So it's like you need signposts along the way, right?
Yeah.
So you're checking in on the client. Remember, everything you say to the client, you already know, so therefore it's straightforward for you. But for the client, it can be a massive amount of overwhelm. And overwhelm is one of the biggest reasons why we don't buy. It's where trust gets broken. So almost not in a condescending way, but bring me along with baby steps. So so how do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, that's much better,
Now, like, how do you feel about this? What are the main things that you've taken from this little bit of feedback?
I rush a consult. I know I rush a consultation, and I feel like it's because there's so many steps in my consultation that I just kind of want to get through it. So I definitely need to slow it down. And I think, like you said, it threw me that you were completely new to skincare. So I think that's instantly where I went wrong, because I was talking to you as if you'd already know that one facial wouldn't be enough, whereas you don't.
So a couple of things here. Number one is that when you rush your consultation, in your mind, unconsciously, you're making the consultation about you and your anxiety that you've got to get through the consultation. You want to make the sale as quickly as possible. And that then loses empathy naturally, and the client will pick up that from you. They won't pick it up consciously, but they will pick it up. And there'll be a certain ick with the sale. Slow it down. And number two is, on the basis that I am a new client, as I've already said, it's just slowing it down for that reason. Doing these signposts along the way, checking in with me. And the final thing as feedback here as well is that a lot of the questions that you're asking are quite tough questions, or even statements. I work in a totally different way, and I charge 3,000 to, was it 8,000?
Yeah, 9,000.
9,000, okay, which is great that you do that, yeah? However, what you want to be doing is making what you're saying relatable to me. So the example that I gave earlier is that I had another client just like you 2 weeks ago. They initially came in for a facial, we got talking, and now they're on a skin journey with me. We've always got to put what we're talking about into context. We've got to make it about the client. The client is number one in that sense. And if the client can't visualize a movie in their mind, if they can't see it, when the client's saying, I can't see what you're talking about, we don't literally, it's a funny statement, is it? I can't see what you're talking about, because in their mind, they can't see it. Our job your job as an expert in what you do, one of the most important things is always think, I've got to create a movie in the mind of this client about what I'm talking about. If there's no movie created, there's no image created, then they're not going to want to move forward. Yeah. So context is always key. Storytelling, sharing examples of other clients that you're working with. Don't give away the exact client. All right, so plenty of feedback there for Emily, and she's now going to go through the consultation again. The main theme here, as you can probably tell, is lots of empathy, not throwing a lot of information in my direction, and making sure that that empathy is demonstrated through bringing me in and giving examples, stories, so I can feel at ease. Because remember, everything you say has to be relatable to the client. Otherwise, it's not valuable. Let's check out how Emily does in round 2.
Hi Pete, it's nice to see you here today. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, thanks for inviting me for the consultation.
That's okay, you're more than welcome. So, how can I help you? What's number one reason why you're here today?
I am in my mid-40s. My birthday is actually coming up next week, and I'm at that point in life where I still feel young, but I'm not as young as I used to be. So maybe time to take care of those things I never thought about before, like my skin.
Okay, no problem. So what are you doing at the moment to your skin? Have you had any treatments? Are you using any products?
No, I'm not using anything. Just natural sunlight in a warmer part of the world. So probably getting too much sun damage, and yeah, I'm not doing enough for sure.
No, that's okay. It's always nice to know, because you've got a blank canvas to start with, so you haven't got any bad habits, you're not using any bad products or having the wrong treatment, so it's a nice blank canvas to start with. Okay,
yeah, I'm definitely a blank canvas. That's the good way to put it.
Absolutely. So have you got any concerns with your skin?
What do you mean by concern?
So is there any...
I'll pause it there because Emily's softened a lot, which is great. You can hear a whole different tone of voice and energy from her. Remember, clients buy into your energy more than anything else. So even though she still asked the question, have you got any concerns, which is a very broad question, especially for a beginner client like myself, the way she's coming across, she can make that type of mistake because it's not what she's saying, it's the energy in which it's being delivered. So far so good. Let's see how she does for the rest of the consultation.
So is there anything, when you look in the mirror, are you kind of pointing at any sort of fine lines and wrinkles, any pigmentation, any dark patches, and thinking, oh, I don't like that?
I would say predominantly it's pigmentation. I tend to get pigmentation around here. And yeah, that definitely is something that I'm aware of. And I know there'll be more damage than I can see just by looking in the mirror. I really like this example. When you look in the mirror, are you pointing at anything that you don't like, any pigmentation or dark circles? Fantastic.
Yeah, okay, no problem. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how badly is it affecting you on a day-to-day basis?
Probably like a 5. I wouldn't say it's taken over my life by any means. Yeah, it's something that I go, oh, but my parents also have a lot of pigmentation. They're still alive and kicking it in their mid-70s. Maybe not kicking, but they're alive.
Yeah, okay, no problem. So you're just aware of it. It's not a massive concern at the moment.
I'd say so.
Yeah, okay. So you've come in for one facial today. So whereabouts, I'm just trying to work out whereabouts you are. Are you looking for, a one-off facial to come in and have a nice relaxing treat, or are you looking for change?
I would say that's actually a good, I never thought about that, to be fair. Of course, a one-off facial would be great. But when you say change, what do you mean? It sounds interesting.
So would you like to change the look, feel and appearance of your skin?
For sure, but I'm assuming that takes more than one facial.
Absolutely, it does. So, I mean, this is something that we can kind of cross later on down the line. I do have some...
You can tell, again, I'm a little bit confused by the question. Great questions lead to great answers. If you're not getting the answers that you want from your client, then we must look at the way we are asking questions. And because there's no context here, change can mean anything. I actually give Emily a bit more feedback on this later on, so we'll check that out in a minute.
I have some clients that prefer to work over a long period of time to make those long changes. Okay. And then some clients like to just come in and have a once a month facial as a treat. So just trying to establish whereabouts you are. So it's something that you'd be open to change,
yeah,
but not too sure at the moment.
Yeah, well done. I'll stop you there. How are you feeling?
It's been better, but yeah.
I love this second example because even though Emily didn't make the shift in terms of the storytelling, bringing me in more, what she did is she changed the most important thing of all, which is her energy. Your energy can instantly change with a client and you can instantly get different results. And a lot of the time when it comes to sales, we feel the pressure, we feel stress, we've got to make money, we're missing our target, and that pressure comes across to our client in our energy. And that's why the client feels pressure and fundamentally won't buy. So even though there's still work for Emily to do, that shift in energy, I'm confident that if she's able to maintain that with her next real life client, that she's going to get a very different result along the way. Let's go through the final feedback and see how Emily did. The immediate feedback I've got for you is that you definitely slowed down. I felt a lot more welcomed into the whole process and I felt involved. That's really important. And you've got to remember, where is the client at in terms of their psychology at the moment? Are they ready to buy it? 5 to 10% of people, they just want to buy. And they're ready to buy from you for £3,000 to £9,000. It's up to you to identify where are they at. Are they at the research stage? Are they brand new? Like I was a complete newbie. But the empathy that you illustrated the second time around was really good. Where there was an opportunity is a time where I thought, I know that now you want to ask if I just want the one-off facial or if I'm looking for real change. That could have been framed a lot more effectively. Change is such a generic word. Are you looking for one-off facial or change? I was thinking, change my wife, change my underwear. I don't know what we mean by change. So there's an opportunity there, and you were almost there with it. There's an opportunity to frame that question. It's not just the question we ask, it's how we frame the question and also the context that we create from that question as well. So Emily, it's so great that you're here. I get a number of clients that want to come in for a one-off treatment, and then I have a percentage of clients that truly want to create change with their skin. And that looks like a different journey for each person. However, what we're looking at is somewhere between 3 to even 12 months that we work together. And I've got a number of actually gents that I work with at the moment, like yourself, You see what I mean? That can be super powerful for you. And that brings me in. And I was interested. The funny thing is the way you framed it, I was still interested. So if you just framed it even better there and brought me in, I would have been really keen.
Okay.
So much actionable feedback in both of those consultations, but the overall theme is to lean into empathy, care about your client, be present with them, and focus on bringing them in, make your stories relevant to them. Everything you say, every word has impact. And when you rush through a consultation, it's not the rushing that matters, it's the reason why you're rushing. And as we could tell with Emily, it's because she wants to get that consultation out of the way, because she feels that she's got this script that she needs to go through. Slow down, care about the client, focus on them. Now, I've known Emily for many years. She's an extremely caring person. She's got stacks of empathy. However, that empathy must be remembered and must be demonstrated in a consultation. So over to you. What have you enjoyed about today's session? What aha moments have you had? And what can you change as a result of going through this session? Comment below, let me know, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Sales Spotlight Show.